As part of his retreat with departments and staff, Pastor Theodore Andose, leader of the Christian Missionary Fellowship International, had a retreat with the leaders of the headquarters church from 18th to 19th January 2022. 400 of them from various localities and centers of the headquarters church were present in the Students' Hall in Koume on 18th January 2022 as from 9 a.m. Taking the floor, Pastor Theodore expressed in clear words that the biggest need in the headquarters church now is that of raising leaders. We must therefore identify potential leaders and train them so that a large number of leaders can emerge. Brother Theodore emphasized that there are no ready-made leaders. On the contrary, if you want leaders, you must build them. But how should one proceed to raise leaders? In order to raise leaders, one must train them in the way of loving the Lord. He explained that love for the Lord Jesus is translated in responsibilities for his people. The bigger the love, the greater the responsibilities. Pastor Theodore further noted that we should make leadership in the church a noble task which many youths should aspire to. Therefore, no lightheartedness should be tolerated in the service of God. Just like the Lord Jesus, we must raise leaders by presenting the way and ensuring that there is God's attestation. Pastor Theodore also seized this opportunity to give a clear blueprint of the office of the pastor of the headquarters church. This, he said, must consist of the following: a person in charge of prayer, a person in charge of fasting, a person in charge of young converts, a person in charge of finances, a person in charge of teachings, a person in charge of the sick, just to name a few. Other articulations of the meeting included praises and preparation in prayer, and a special slot where each leader was called to thank God for their goal of 2022 and to proclaim it, so that it lays hold of them. For Radio Television Voice of the Cross, Theodore Domato.
Pastor Theodore's retreat with the staff of the prayer institutions brought together 147 participants on the site, with 50 others following online from 19 nations. The prayer institutions are the World Conquest Prayer and Fasting Center, the Strategic Prayer Center for World Conquest, the Better House of Prayer for All Nations, and the Revival Center for World Conquest. In his message to the audience, Pastor Theodore shared on the need for prayer co-workers who carry specific burdens. Quoting the example of the Lord Jesus in Hebrews chapter 5 verse 7, he emphasized that we need prayer co-workers who are gripped by the fear to fail in their mission and as a result work extremely hard to accomplish it. He also said such co-workers are needed for every aspect of the headquarters and for the different domains of our ministries, such as the ministry of prayer, the ministry of fasting, and our literature. Pastor Theodore also called on all the leaders of prayer houses to master the domains of their work and train other prayer ministers accordingly. Sister Mary Okon tells us the impact of the message in her life as a prayer minister.
Brother Theodore taught us this time on what it means to be a prayer worker. That is somebody who invests his all on one particular thing. What I learned is to pray with that desperation that this thing I'm carrying depends on me. If I'm not desperate about it, it might not succeed. He gave the example of Jesus Christ. He also gave the example of Epaphras. So that is what I learned, and it helped me to rearrange my prayer. Now I pray with a burden, knowing that if I don't succeed in this particular thing I'm carrying, then it will fail.
Pastor Martin Fatele, leader of the Douala Spiritual Province, embarked on a 2-month round in the families that constitute the church in Douala in a bid to raise leaders for the accomplishment of the goal of phase 3. The round started on 14 November 2021 to end on 9 January 2022 and targeted all age groups, including children, youths, adults in the 15 families of the church in Douala. The brethren welcomed this initiative with enthusiasm.
It is a wonderful moment today. We are glad to have our brother Martin in the family, in Wachie family. In fact, today it is a great day. We have been blessed by the teaching that a leader, even when you are appointed, you must work very hard to merit that appointment. That is what we get today. And we believe that through we have learned today from our leader in the church in Douala, Brother Martin, The Lord is going to raise many leaders in our family. So in the next meeting, we will have more leaders in our family. In fact, today is a blessed day, a wonderful day. We are glad for the day of today, and we have really enjoyed it. And we believe we are waiting to see the result of this meeting today. We are happy.
Pastor Martin and his team raised 1,000 new leaders and hundreds of converts. The program was also an opportunity for the saints to feel closer to their leader, and many of them pleaded for it to be added to the leader's agenda. For RTVC, I'm Joel Bida.
The Brethren in Haut-France held a prayer night in the city of Lille on the 14th of January 2022. It gathered brethren from 5 localities of France: Valenciennes, Douai, Dunkerque, Calais, and Béthune. The meeting consisted in 3 parts. A first part led by Pastor Shina, the Ministry of the Word by Sister Elizabeth, leader of the church in the region, and a third part dedicated to prayer under the leadership of Sister Leonie Siaha, missionary to Calais. One other highlight of the meeting was the introduction of a couple-to-be, namely Brother Luc and his fiancée Sister Mariam, both from the town of Valenciennes in France. For RTVC, I'm Bida Gabriel.
Christian Missionary Fellowship International Tanzania has achieved the feat of building a 500-seat hall including the pastor's office, toilet in just 41 days. This was done in order to give weight to the registration of our ministry there and in the context of the visit of Pastor Jean de Dion Wachi, Pastor Theodore's ministry assistant for the coordination of the work in East Africa. Work started on the 1st of December 2021 and are now at the finishing stage with electrifying and painting, among others. The target is to complete the project by the 21st of January 2022. Though finishing touches are still to be brought to the hall, the Ministry to Children have already held an evangelistic program in prelude to the dedication of the hall.